I bring to you Exhibit A to why life in 2023 is so difficult. My evidence is presented from a closing narration of a classic 1960 episode of a science fiction anthology show. The tools of conquest do not necessarily come with bombs and explosions and fallout. There are weapons that are simply thoughts, attitudes, prejudices, to be found only in the minds of men. For the record, prejudices can kill, and suspicion can destroy, and the thoughtless, frightened search for a scapegoat has a fallout all of its own. For the children, and the children yet unborn. And the pity of it is that these things cannot be confined to the Twilight Zone. This comes from the pen and mind of Mr. Rod Serling in the March 4th, 1960 episode, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. I would suggest in 2023, the monsters have moved past Maple Street. And in our homes, each and every home in America and beyond. The reason why I say that, the reason why I would make this argument, is simply because in 2023 you can post a simple tweet, and in that tweet it grows and grows like a firestorm burning out of control, to where it makes national media, and not only national media, but it can change the minds and attitudes, and the individuals who post that may find themselves in trouble or lauded as if they're heroic. But this is what we live with in 2023. Now, I know what you may be saying. Chapman, is this another social media post, anti-social media post? Well, yes, it could be. Just like in 1960, you could say, Serling, is this another anti-propaganda episode? Propaganda in which you had the Red Scare, Joseph McCarthy and the McCarthy hearings. You had the Cold War, Emmett Till, the Civil Rights Movement. The space race had just started, and disputes, foreign and domestic, around the globe. It just doesn't happen in 2023. In 1960, it also happened. It just wasn't covered as much or discussed as much to the level it is now. And you would think with our technology, you would think with all of the choices available to us, 63 years later, that humanity will be much smarter, will be much more compassionate, that we would not just be a kinder, gentler nation. We would be a kinder, gentler world, to paraphrase President George H. Bush, the late George H. Bush. But I would say, we have become the monsters that have taken over Maple Street and beyond. We have become the creatures that prey on each other's souls. We have become the harbingers of mental death and destruction in our wake. All we have are not just the tools of conquest at our disposal each and every day that we post something that is unsavory, but we simply just don't know any better. In fact, I'd like to go back to the closing narration again and kind of describe what Mr. Serling has written here. And if you happen to agree with what Mr. Serling has said, then all you have to do is quietly nod your head. The tools of conquest do not necessarily come with bombs and explosion and fallout. There are weapons that are simply thoughts, attitudes, prejudices, to be found only in the minds of men. For the record, prejudices can kill, and suspicion can destroy. And the thoughtless, frightened search for a scapegoat has a fallout all of its own. For the children, and the children yet unborn. And the pity of it is that these things cannot be confined to the Twilight Zone. In 1960, the tools of conquest. Who in that time period would Mr. Serling refer to? Who in this year of AD 23 or 2023 AD, who would Mr. Serling would also refer that to? I would like to answer the latter, if you don't mind. In the year of 2023 AD, the tools of conquest, in which the weapons being used are thoughts, attitudes, and prejudices, are used by not only the creators of these social media platforms, but they're made by individuals, people with power and prestige, who need you to use these platforms daily to share whatever prejudices, attitudes, or thoughts that you would like to share willingly. Now, of course, what they get out of it is anyone's guess, and you can try. But in one example, in one social media platform, you can say something like free speech, but then in that free speech, all of the negative thoughts, attitudes, prejudices come out. Sorry about that. And then who benefits from that? Well, definitely the person who owns that social media platform. We would deduce all I can just say is that we have to be careful. We have to really think about what we post and what we say. because it's easy in this day and age to post accusatory thoughts, accusations, racial statements, and appear as if because we have people who agree with the prejudices and those thoughts and attitudes that people are on our side, but not everyone is on that side. In fact, there's a concept called cancellation that happens. Users don't like what a certain person has to say, and they attempt to cancel that person or corporation or entity that will make those inflammatory statements. But who benefits from this chaos? Who benefits from this trouble? Just like in the episode, the Twilight Zone episode, the manipulators knew at the touch of a button they can control the human mind. They can control the attitudes. They can control the emotions. At the touch of a keyboard in 2023, same reaction, same thing. It would be easy for someone like me to say, be vigilant, be on guard. But it would have to come to whether or not we choose to be on guard, that we choose to be vigilant, that we choose to protect that last good piece of real estate that we all own. If I say that again, please forgive me. But our minds are very important. Our hearts are very important, and we have to protect them always. Everything that we've been taught, everything that we've listened to, everything that we hold dear in our minds, that we know right from wrong, that we know good from bad, that we know exactly how to treat others with respect, that can never change. And any entity or individual that seeks to change that seeks to change your character, is not a person that's looking out for you. They're not looking out for you. They're not looking out for the fellow man or woman. They're looking out for themselves. And also to get as many followers or as many users on their side as they can. Tell that monster inside you to chill. Don't fall prey to the manipulators who control your personal Maple Street. Be stronger than that. Whatever you need to do, read some philosophy or whatever you need to do. Fortify your mind and your heart. As I close, I would say this is something that has happened since the dawn of man. Ancient Greeks created the Greek gods. They created Zeus, Hercules, all the rest, Aphrodite. And yet, they created them for a reason. Weather patterns, crops, whatever was going on. And the ancient Greeks created the Greek gods from their own minds. And then the Romans follow suit. They do everything. They copy from every race they happen to conquer. They copied and they created their own Roman gods. The human mind, since we have been on this earth, has created so much good and so much evil. And it's up to us to determine whether we use our minds for good or for ill. But Mr. Sterling wrote an accurate account of what happens when the human mind is controlled and coerced to do unsavory things from manipulators whose only ambition was to turn citizens against each other. And I would say in 2023, let's not follow the same example of that Maple Street. And let's defeat the monsters one by one. My name is Charles O. Chapman. I'm an author, poet, and observer. My website is in the description box. If you like what you heard, like to hear more, please subscribe. If you think this is something you could care less about, you can also mention the comment section. Or comment if you think you got something out of this. But these are my thoughts, and this is what I think about. This was a non-old blog post, so which means this did not come from my old blog. This just came from my observation, and something I just wanted to share with you at this moment in time. But thank each and one of you for listening. Thank you for taking time to listen. I hope that you learned something, and I hope that you watched the episode The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, or Twilight Zone episode from 1960, first season. And until next time, I do want to wish each and every one of you a good day, a good evening, a good week, and always in closing, take care.